Discovered husband had affair, so he ended his life. Hi guys. This was 2 years ago now, and so I've had some time to gain perspective on the situation, but I have read some of your stories and want to share mine and ask for some advice. Basically, I 30F was sitting at home one night having just put our 9-month-old to bed, and got some weird social media ads from a friend of mine. She added me to Insta, FB, etc. I was so confused because I didn't know she had unfriended me. So I texted my husband 35M that she was being a weirdo. I had zero thoughts of them having an affair together. She was married and I thought my husband was faithful. 20 minutes later my husband walks in the door telling me we need to talk. I still didn't put 2 and 2 together and thought he got fired from work or something. He looked so despondent. That's when he told me about the affair. It hurt so bad to be backstabbed by a friend and my husband at the same time. He was apologetic but was also flipping it around on me not being happy enough, etc. I had just had a baby and went through a cancer scare at the same time. How was I supposed to always be happy? I shouldn't have, but I texted her too, and she flipped it on me as well, telling me I should have had better control over my husband. WTF. I'm not here to control anyone and I trusted him and her. Anyways, it gets worse. Apparently he had confessed to her that this wasn't the first time he had cheated on me. He had hooked up with randoms at work too. She threatened him that she would tell me if he didn't tell me right away. She cited morality, Lamau. As of now she felt the need to be moral. Anyways, he told me, I reacted poorly and told him I couldn't tolerate that and we needed to divorce. I had been trying to accept his affair with my friend, not smart, but I desperately wanted things to work between us. But hearing it was a chronic thing for him changed the game entirely. So I told him I was out. That was when he took off and ended his life. It took hours for police to find him and the whole time I was hoping he took off to blow off steam, but his tone when he left scared me, so I called 911 and police were at my house for about 6 hours until the official notification came. I guess my question in all this is, how do I live with no answers or closure? How do I live knowing that my friend just blocked me on everything and continues to live her normal married life when my family blew up and my son has no dad anymore? How do I ever trust someone intimately again? I am in therapy and it helps, mostly alleviating my guilt at not saving him from himself, but holy hell, this is a lot to live with. It all feels very unfair that I had no hand in any of this and I and my poor little dude still ended up being the ones totally screwed over. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, did she get exposed? How did her husband react? Do you still have a relationship with your husband's family? This is awful. Op answer, she did not get exposed. We didn't share a lot of mutual friends, so it didn't really impact her life at all. Of course all of my close friends know, but that does not affect her. She had the audacity to come to my husband's public memorial with her husband. I didn't say anything that day because I was still in shock and also was overwhelmed with all the people talking to me. I never found out how her husband reacted. Like I said, she blocked me from everything shortly after the funeral, but they are still married, so. Yeah. I know he knows about what happened, but I have no idea what his thoughts, feelings on it are. She did tell me her husband was fine with it when I texted her after I found out about the affair. But those were her words, not his. I do not have a relationship with my husband's family. They couldn't really cope with what happened and avoided me in the days following his death, then moved across the country. In part I think their inability to face any issues is likely why my husband had the psychological difficulties that led him to suicide and actually probably cheating too, very much avoidant tendencies. I would never tell them that, obviously, but he had a crappy family. Redditor 2, if I was you I would expose her to her family. She screwed mine, so I will do the same. His poor husband has the right to know about his wife. Op answer, to my knowledge, he does know about what happened. They came to some weird one-sided open marriage agreement after he found out she cheated the first time. My husband was not her first affair. I have no idea how things went down with them, though, once my husband died. Redditor 3, I'm sorry all this happened to you and I realize saying that is so inadequate. Glad you are in therapy. This is not something you can handle on your own, of course. Obviously it's a lot, in terms of practical things to do. Does your friend's husband know she cheated? He needs to know. Send him this post, say you posted it on Reddit, and tell him it's about you and his wife. Don't worry about being vindictive. She deserves it. Not just for the cheating but for the way she talked to you. That friend is a genuinely awful person. Do the world a favor and toss some justice her way. In terms of closure, I can only say this. Most people don't get closure when they confront a partner for having cheated. Or sometimes they only think they do, when the truth is they just bought a narrative. So maybe realize most people don't get and in fact really don't need closure. And as hard as it may be, you also need to look at something square in the face. That is, your ex could not have been a very grounded, solid person if they abandoned a child through suicide. There was something wrong with him. I don't know, probably you have looked that in the face and you already know you cannot help what is wrong with another person. You did nothing wrong in telling him you wanted a divorce. That's a normal reaction. You cannot help what was wrong with him. Many a man has cheated, been caught, got up off the mat, accepted the consequences, and then tried to be a good co-parent after the divorce. You could not know in advance that he would be a weak exception to that. How can you trust again? That will take a long time. Be strong and be a good, brave mother for your child. That's about all anyone can do. I feel how absolutely inadequate my words are to your situation, but the more feedback you get the better, so I just thought I would toss in my own and no way adequate 2 cents. Op answer: thank you for your kind and thorough comment. I do really appreciate the feedback. Her husband does know she cheated. This wasn't even her first time cheating. TBH, not sure why he stays with her. Also, excellent point about likely not getting much closure either way. And you are right that closure isn't needed to heal. In therapy, I have examined my husband and our relationship and learned that he was absolutely not a good partner for me, nor was he, as you said, a solid, grounded person. It was hard to look at that aspect of things, but has been very necessary in putting things into perspective. You're right that being able to trust again will take time. I'm still in the midst of that part of healing, but I do have hope. Redditor 4, it's very clear from that ex-friend's behavior that she was only adding you on the socials in that moment so she could message you about everything and expose your husband in that moment. Clearly she didn't care about you. She only cared about getting back at him because she probably felt betrayed that he had slept with other women besides her. An absolute shame and disgrace that she doesn't care enough to even check on you or even acknowledge what happened. Redditor 5, 1, your family blew up and your son does not have a dad because of your husband's actions. He was a cheater, liar and coward. He chose the easy way out. It was never your fault and you could not have prevented him. He made his choice. 2, do not go checking her accounts or profile. She is not worth it. She is a scum and will face karma for her deeds when the time comes. You can live by focusing on your kid who is only you at the moment. You need to make sure that you put in your best as his mother. You need to reach out to people, family who can support you through this time. You need to make choices that will lead you eventually to a better path, and checking your friends' profiles on social media is not it. Op answer: thank you for your comment. I have worked hard to heal through therapy so I can show up as a good parent for my son. All things considered, he is doing well, and for that I am grateful. But I know we will have some difficult conversations coming when he gets older. I was also able to secure some government grants for us so that we did not lose our house or quality of living. I've also done all the planning my husband didn't do, set up a will, future planning, that kind of thing, to best support my son. I just want to address that I don't check this friend's socials. Immediately after the fact, yes, because I was in shock and trying to cling to anything I could to feel closer to my husband. Grief does really weird things to the human mind, but she is not often in my thoughts anymore. I just get pangs of pain sometimes where she blew up my life and left me to pick up the pieces. I think feeling that is human. Redditor 6, I am sorry that you find yourself here. I see nothing you have to feel guilty about, either in the affair or his suicide. His inability to deal with the consequences of his own actions is certainly not your fault or responsibility. It is sad and unfortunate that this has happened to you, but it is not your fault. About 3.5 years ago, I had a fall, not my fault, that ended up damaging my spine so severely that, after surgeries, I am now in a wheelchair for the rest of my life and in 24/7 unending terrible pain. I find nothing fair about the situation, But I have to deal with it anyway. I had to rediscover how to find joy in my life, and not let my current circumstances poison the love and compassion I feel for others, and keep the essential me intact. I wish you the best in reclaiming your love going forward and living a full and complete life.